When you trade without a clear head, the results typically don't end that well. Hey, fellow traders, it's Black Coffee Trader. It is Friday, August the 15th. And yeah, in hindsight, looking back over the morning session, I was done trading my funded accounts by, I don't know, maybe 10 o'clock, 10:30. It's pretty early because I didn't do very well. I did break my rule. First trade was a loss, kept trading, ended up with taking 3 losses and 1 small winner. And looking back, even the winning trade was a bad trade. So let's just break it down. So, we really had a big sell-off here in the morning, and the rest of the day has just been complete sideways action, and really kind of ugly price action, especially on the ES, was really holding strong above the previous all-time high. That's this green line here, which you can see right here on the charts. That's the previous all-time high that we had back here. That was holding extremely well today, as was the low of day from yesterday. On the NASDAQ, we were below the low of day from yesterday, creating a bit of a divergence there, and that typically ends up being I mean, I've seen this movie many times, and why I keep doing stupid stuff around it. I have to, eventually I'll have enough pain here, but NASDAQ below the low of day from yesterday, ES above the low of day from yesterday. When that happens, those two markets are at opposing sides of the low of day or the high of day, it really tends to have an effect on price action, especially when the market is trading close to that level. If they're way apart, that may be a little bit different. So, but yeah. So first trade today was actually, you know what? I think the better thing to do would be to just look at these trades through TradeZilla. So let's do that. Here's today. Yeah, no new executions. 25% win rate. Bad day, just bad day. I mean, it wasn't like I was taking big losses, but just I'm not happy with myself. So let's just walk through it. 2,100 in losses on the funded accounts, making for a pretty ugly red week. Let's dive into the trades themselves. So on the first trade of the day, this one right here. So if you look at my note, break and retest of 23,800 and the prior day low didn't work. Looking back, the setup was too risky. Big morning move and jumping in looking for a hold was unwise. And that really kind of, looking back, that sets the tone for the day. Yes, there was a little bit of confirmation on the 2-minute chart here, but because of this big move down and the divergence that was occurring on the low of day from yesterday, the better plan would have been to wait for a move down and then a clean retest of either the, I think this is PPI low, or this area. It would have been better to just wait, like make sure there's a break and then a retest instead of retesting a wick. So that was just, hindsight is 2020, but I have a tendency to do that, and I've got to stop it because technically it is a break and retest. I mean, we've broken and retested that area. I mean, we've broken and retested this PPI low, but not a good setup, and it ended up being a losing trade. So yeah, lesson learned. Well, I hope eventually here we're going to see a lesson learned. This next one is not a good trade as well, even though it's a winner. So let's look at this. Here we have break and retest of 23,840. Got to 1 take profit on this trade. Once I was in the trade, I realized that this looked more like a break and retest of overnight low, which was exactly what happened. I moved the stop to break even after the first take profit and ended up getting stopped. Was a win, but not a good trade. And I think that's important to understand. I need to understand that. Even though I took a profit here, this was not a good trade. We moved through, you can see my earlier loss. I took that short. It really didn't go anywhere. That ended up being a hold. I actually was the PPI high. And we pushed higher. And then as we pushed higher, yes, we had a break and retest of this level, but it was a wick retest. And I took that long and actually ended up moving my profit target, I think, right down to here. This light blue line is the overnight low. And this ended up being a break and retest. And had I waited and taken this short, here we have the VWAP coming down, you have the overnight low, you have this move down, coming back up, testing it. This would have been a fantastic short and really should have been the trade of the day. So I was in the right trade of the day, but I was in the wrong side of it and managed to get a little bit of profit, which ended up being kind of a moot point because we had a red day. So I'm, this is as much for me as it is for anybody. I'm not really trying to teach something here. I'm just sharing my journey and talking myself through my mistakes because I'm tired of losing like this. I know how to trade. It's just I take too many impulse setups without defining clearly what I'm looking for. And this is not clearly what I'm looking for. What I'm looking for is this clean break and test of this and the rejection. After we see the rejection coming in, I'll show you that on the bigger, on the charts when we go back to NinjaTrader. So, and then the last two trades were both on, matter of fact, well, you know what, I'll just show it to you trade by trade. This was a Dow Jones short. Break and retest of prior day high, nice setup, started to sell down, then rejected, took me out, reversed, size a little too big in this trade. And here's the note after the fact. In hindsight, whoops, in hindsight, like the first trade, I was too hasty in this entry, not enough confirmation to really take the short. So this was my initial note, but like this was my note right as I was in the trade. Looked like a nice setup. This really was not. Again, big move down. We were retesting, but we should have had a breakaway and then a retest and then short, because you get the breakdown, you get a bit of a bear flag, and then you get the short. That's way better of a trade. So I that was my mistake today. I did the wicked break and retest instead of a full market break and retest of the levels, and that was my undoing. And then I had a fourth trade, which was just jumping right back into the same short, frustrated. This was my initial trade, initial note, break and retest of prior day high, re-entry, got taken out to the tick and reversed. Very frustrating loss. I was frustrated at the time, but later as I kind of analyze the day, looking back, the first trade didn't work. I jumped into this short out of frustration and not a clear thesis. I did not have a good thesis on this plan. This move right here invalidates that first trade. And really that first trade, it never really was a good setup. I took it anyway. And then out of frustration, because this moved back down, I took it again, ended up getting taken out. It came back down, would have allowed me to get out, which caused a lot of frustration. And then we just moved up, and you can kind of see the bearish bear flag that we did end up getting. So let's look at, for example, look at this initial NASDAQ trade. This was the win where I took the long, but see how this tested this overnight low, and then it also tested VWAP here, and it rejected. And this move down would have been a really nice entry short. That could have been a really, really good trade. Even though you're kind of shorting into this area, it could have been a good trade, but there was just not much there on a clean break and retest setup today on the NASDAQ. And I took some trades, and they didn't work out. Dow Jones, here's this one. And if you look at this, let's kind of zoom out bigger picture. Look at how much of a bear flag this was. You have the move down, you have a kind of a bear flag coming up into this channel. Yes, we really ended up breaking off of this VWAP. And it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon now, so who knows where this thing's going to go, but could have been maybe a better entry to wait. That's not at a level setup, but again, there was just not a trade here, but I manufactured a trade, and that's on me. That's not very wise. So need to do better. Just not a good day on the funded accounts. Speaking of the funded accounts, I want to show you this. Here's the week. So we had one green day. We really ended up giving back about $750 across the funded accounts per account, which hurts. $400 on the brand new one that we got this week. So hopefully we can bounce back and do better next week. I need to be a lot more disciplined and defined with these entries. Now, there's a little bit of upside today. I had a decent day on evals. I finally did pass this other take profit account. Had that account at 1,500 in profit yesterday and got another 1,500 today. So I did pass that account prior to the rebuilding. That would rebuild tomorrow, so I am happy about that. I really wanted to get the take profit accounts passed, and honestly, I blew up this one eval that I won from Alpine. I was playing with some strategy stuff. I was literally just playing with it, and I ended up losing it, which it is what it is. So sorry, Alpine, we didn't get that one across the finish line. I did blow this account at one point today. I was down, and this is one that's going to rebuild, so I was trading it with a lot of size, and I was okay if I blew it because I'm going to get a rebuild for it anyway. But the rest of the accounts pretty good, 2 to 4 to 600 in profit on these. And, I've got these 50Ks back up to 1,600 in profit. The Alpine account, the original one from Apex, back up to almost 4 grand in profit. So maybe we can take these things back. This group of 150Ks is about 3,000 in profit. So I'm definitely not giving up. These take profit accounts. Yesterday at one point, I had these accounts down to where there was only $70 to draw down left. And I've got them back to 500 in profit. I've got $1,000 to draw down. So if I can survive that $36,000 red day on the evals this week and bring these back and pass even half of them, that's a huge win. And so anyway, I'm trying to build on that. I'm happy to finally have another take profit account. So the good news is I'll have funded Tradeify accounts, funded Apex accounts, and a funded take profit account. I just need to turn this green instead of continuing red. So but that's the day, that's the week, that's a wrap. Just a quick reminder that the take profit sale is ending on Sunday, this Sunday. So use somebody's code. If you're using my code, thank you, code BCT gets you that deal, 40% off. And your evaluation cost is refunded at first payout, and you actually have a free account. So if I can get a payout with this account, I will essentially have a free funded account. So that is really, really, really awesome. So don't lose sight of that. The Apex sale did get extended, so that's always there. But again, code BCT gets the best deal with that. Thankfully, I locked myself out with QuantGuard, so I wasn't tempted to trade. I only have QuantGuard set up on the Apex accounts. QuantGuard is coming out with Tradeivate, so we'll be able to set up all of our accounts. I'm happy for that. I'm excited for that. Once that's out, I'll do a video on QuantGuard and kind of give you an in-depth on QuantGuard and what I like about it. So, but anyway, that's that. I'll leave you with that. It's the weekend. Not the way I wanted to go into the weekend, but I am happy that I passed that take profit. So that's where we'll leave it. Hey, thanks again for supporting the channel. Thanks for following along. Appreciate you guys. Hope you had a good week. Have a good weekend, and we'll catch up with you next week. Take care, and so long.